Okay, we live.
Shalom, shalom. We the brothers
Shalom.
from GMS New Orleans coming back at you with another lesson. Prior to getting started, as we always do, we like to give infinite honors and prayers to Yahweh,
Yahweh
Shem,
Bahashem,
Yahushua,
Bahashem
Shemaiah,
Dash.
the honor to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, and salutation to the Agams that's pushing the truth and sincerity. Lord willing, this video will be edifying first and foremost to the whole elect, and to those that cleave to the body. And we got a article queued up here from where it says from. It's just from the military of the hill. It's from 2 days ago. We'll get into a lesson basically surrounding the automatic registration for the U.S. military draft to begin in December. All right, and we'll bring out some other more bulletin points, concerning it. But this is a big matter because prior to the call, prior to the live stream, the elder just said through the spirit, he was like, he sees something major happening on the grounds and turf of America, all right, that will cause this war to get pushed in place, all right, by way of a false flag agenda or some T attack, some agenda of the elites, man. Because as you can see, the Lord is squeezing their stronghold that they have in the earth, which will be their rule, all right, for a period of time that He gave them, and according to Job 14:5. Okay, but these people, you see, the army, the people that's in the army, in the military, different branches and sectors doing TikTok videos concerning, not wanting to fight, which you can hold me that Jeremiah 51:33, and Raya, can you give me Joel 2:20? I believe it is, and I want you to get that Joel 2:20 in the NLT Bible Gashah, Raya. Okay, but a lot of these people, we mentioned it briefly on a lesson last night, me and an elder and a priest, about how these people are doing all manner of things to duck this war that's coming into place. Now, it is biblically written in Revelation that a third world war must happen. Okay, it's going to take place, and our Lord will intervene in that according to Second Esdras. So, if the third world war don't take place, then our Lord will never be able to intervene, take the crowns of these nations, and ultimately save us. So, what we're speaking about is biblical prophecy before it happens. Right? Check the feed. I'm gonna to make sure I'm good, brother. Or somebody got to mute their phone. I'm just choppy. Just make sure I'm good, but I'm in the feedback. I don't know if I got to mute his phone. You might have to read it, Laquan.
Yeah, you might want to get Amawad to get that Joel because I can't get it on the NLT. I'm on my phone.
Okay.
Yeah, you might want to get Amawad.
Yeah, we straight.
Yeah, I'll read. Okay. Well, what I'll do.
I get the Jeremiah.
I'm trying to.
Okay.
You want it now?
Yeah, read that Jeremiah. I want to read a little bit of this article. Why? I'm just have you read the beginning of it. Nothing crazy. Brothers can go look it up on their own. But just to go into that, I want you to hold that Jeremiah, right? All right. Can you start off a little bit of this insert, brother, and just read a little bit so I can just give a little overview of what's going on. You got it, Amawad.
John says automatic registration for U.S. military draft to begin in December. It says eligible men will automatically be registered into the military draft pool by December as part of an effort to streamline the previous process of self-registration and save money.
Right. So it says eligible men. Now at first, they'll do the age. You brothers, the age been varying 18 to 40 to 25, 18 to 25, nice up into 40, and etc. But a lot of time there ain't gonna be no exemptions from this war. All right. People believe that they're telling you that prior, to things happening, but it's gonna get to the point where they're just gonna automatically draft you. All right, which this article basically say that's what it's getting down to. Because a lot of people like, oh, I'm the firstborn son. I'm my mama only child. There was a lot of exemptions, but all those things is being removed, man. Go ahead, Amawad.
It says the Selective Service System, the SSS, The government agency that maintains a database of men to be called up to serve in case of a national emergency submitted a proposed rule to the Office of Information and Regulatory Affairs on March 30th, according to the office's website.
Yeah,
Most,
well,
oh,
well, people, hold on, people is not even aware of these certain rules, these certain what they call them when they put them in place. When we be, doing like, doing holidays and different things like that, they be putting certain
House bills.
house bills and different rules to certain offices. Bills be getting passed. All right, when Jake not even believing he's under the same rule of thumb or rules, they've been changed, man. All right, because it's getting sent in case of a national emergency. Well, during a national emergency, rules change. All right, rules change during national emergencies. And a war is a world emergency, man. Go ahead,
Ooh, check this out.
what you got?
I'm gonna try to copy it. So let me copy this and put it in the thing. I said I was looking like what makes you eligible for the draft. Hold up.
Okay.
And that's it right there. Let me zoom in some.
I'm psyching for bad. I'm getting some age, man. Yeah. It says eligibility for U.S. draft, age and gender requirements. Age. All male U.S. citizens and male immigrants must register for the draft between the ages of 18 and 25. Gender. Currently, only males are required to register. This includes U.S. citizens, immigrant non-citizens, dual citizens, U.S. citizens living abroad, transgender individuals assigned male at birth. Yeah, and what's crazy about that is, sometimes they go to jail, they put them in the women's jail, and we then saw the article where one of them was in there, they was impregnating the women that was in the jail. So you going back to your gender role, all right? You're not gonna be, oh, I'm a man, I'm really a woman. Nah, when draft come around, you're gonna have to go if you're a man. It says consequences of non-registration. Failure to register can lead to severe penalties, including fines up to $250,000, imprisonment up to 5 years, and eligibility for federal jobs, student loans, and U.S. citizens for immigrants. Exemptions. Certain groups are exempt from registration, including active duty military personnel, because you automatically got to go. Some disabled individuals, they're going to send them to. All right, they were sending remedial people there to that Ukraine and Russia war. How much more? It says individuals currently incarcerated. That's a goddamn lie, y'all. Now that's gonna be a way, to get that seal if they volunteer. First, it's gonna come off with a volunteering thing. You're gonna get some people. Once they reach the mark of the number, what they're gonna do is start to force you because technically you don't have any rights as a slave. A person who's free have a little movement. When you're incarcerated, you have no rights as a slave. You can't say what you're gonna do or not gonna do, which
Okay,
regular people can't.
this article proves that to automatically put you in the draft.
Yeah.
Back then, you had to sign up for it. Now this automatically puts you in the hornet's nest, man. So you don't have no rights.
Yeah. Yeah. Same. Yep. Most men between 18 and 25. You can finish reading it from right there, right? And we'll get. We're gonna get a few precepts showing how this is an imprisonment, man, and men have to go over that or die. All right, to fight and die against the Lord, man. Go ahead, bro.
If I could say too, it said people with disabilities and incarcerated. Well, just look at the recent war in Ukraine, just to back up what you said. Since so many Ukrainian men were dying, they raised the age to the late 40s. They were getting people with scoliosis. And then on the Russian side, they were saying, look, join Wagner, which is the private military. And if you're in prison, that'll be a easy way for you to lessen your sentence.
Free release. Yep. Free release.
And then also during the Vietnam War, which had a draft, they had something called Project 500, where they were in such a need for soldiers that they were getting people with IQ levels, which we know that's BS, but IQ levels in the 70s, you know, in the levels of retardation just to put people on the front lines.
Hey, the same thing. I was looking at the same thing they do for police officers. Most police officers are picked. They got low IQs, man. All right, and like I said, this is going to be another bankers' war, where the casualty is going to bring them profit. All right, laws, because debt and war brings money, man.
Yeah, it's a racket.
You know, hey, and you best believe, you know, for the time being, it's gonna bring them money.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of it. You got it out.
Now the stage been getting set. Like he said, you know, with World War III about to happen, you know, it's gonna be a world split, man. All right, US and Israel gonna have alliances. Iran, Russia, China, you know, they gonna have alliances. It's gonna be a world split. All right, but like you say, it's all about the money. All right, and it's about a racket. It was this guy, a well-decorated military chief. You might know his name, Raya. All right.
Dudley
Well, I got it
Butler.
right here. Yep. This is a quick overview of what the brother just said. It says, I spent 33 years and 4 months in active military service. And during that period, I spent most of my time as a high-class muscle man for big business, for Wall Street and the bankers. The elder said these are banker walls, all right, to push the narrative of more money, businesses, and really to get that total rule over the earth, too, all right? It says, looking back on it, I might have given Al Capone a few hints. The best he could do was to operate his racket in 3 districts. I operated on 3 continents. War is a racket. Only a small inside group knows what it's about. It is conducted for the benefit of the very few at the expense of very many. All right, and this was Major General Butler. All right, he was a well-decorated Marine in U.S. history, and this was one of his first quotes, all right, from his book called Issue of Common Sense, all right? And the second from Butler's 93 book, War is a Racket, all right, which is the point. But like the elder said, it's going to be men of low IQ. So then when you do the surrounding people of that is what? You YNs, all right, you college dropouts, you know, really you Jakes, all right?
Hey,
You know?
them Edomites, you nations
Need
over
a
here.
mic, yes, need a mic too.
Like
You
I
know, some
said-
Joe Blows. Yeah.
Like I said in my last video, you TikTok influencers, you
Yes.
you Instagram models, all right, you moles, all right, you switch hitters, you gutter punks out there, all you gonna get drafted, man.
You're gonna get drafted.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right. You get you finished? My bad, bro. Like
They don't give a damn if you're on magazine or in the Bywater. You're going.
you're going.
You're through.
Or if you're in your mom and dad's house.
Yeah.
man.
And it's been biblically scripted. All right, where y'all gonna land at? And this is why we can say this with so much, you know, enthusiasm, because
Confidence.
yeah, with confidence, bro, because it actually says locations in the Bible. Now listen, we're not gonna be over righteous. Oh, it's gonna be exact. We don't give a damn about that. But you're going into this area where you're gonna have to battle the Lord. I'm give me Joel 2 and 20 and get it in the NLT. Read it in NLT for me, brother Bible shop.
This is the book of Joel, chapter 2, 20, in the NLT. It says, I will drive away these armies from the north. I will send them into the parched wastelands. Those in the front will be driven into the Dead Sea, and those at the rear into the Mediterranean. The stench of their rotting bodies will rise over the land. Surely Yahweh has done great things.
Yeah, so there's a landing point, all right, where the Lord is gonna put these armies, all right, to do battle right in that barren land, all right there in Saudi Arabia. All right, you're gonna have to go there to fight, man. You have to battle this country, or what you believe in the good old US of A, all right, or what you believe in, and you're gonna have to battle and fight. But it say your stink gonna come up, man. All right, it's gonna be bodies gonna be there, deserted in that area. I think it was Apostle Saul all right, did a lesson and said that prior to them sending y'all in that desert, that deserted area where y'all gonna do the business at, all right, he said most of y'all is gonna get sea hip, man. All right, prior to y'all going over there, or the ones that's already stationed there, they've been sending troops who going there, who probably not coming back. All right, he said that they probably have fixed, sea hip stations there to make sure y'all get it too, man. All right,
because when y'all get destroyed and splattered amongst the desert, that's how they're gonna ID your bodies, man.
Yep.
All right, that's gonna make it very much easier for them to ID you. You know, you become a POW, all right, and they don't know. I got one for you too.
No, you got it, brother.
It's the second Ezra. I don't know if one of you brothers had it. Second Ezra chapter 16, verse 33. It says,
Nah, you got it.
The virgins shall mourn, having no bridegrooms. The women shall mourn, having no husbands. The daughters shall mourn, having no helpers. In the wars, all right, shall the bridegrooms be destroyed, and the husbands shall perish in famine.
Right, so this is a prophecy. It's a prophecy. So if this has to happen, then who gonna be there? Like, who are they talking about? Who they talking about? The virgins shall mourn, having no bridegrooms or the men. Who they're talking about? They talking about you Americans, man. All right. That's gonna be in this draft. All right, this automatic draft, and it's gonna be, like you say, from teenagers on up. And then this is gonna get to the point where they're gonna send you women. Y'all ain't exempt from this. Okay, they might send the men first or whatever. Some women are already in the military as well. So let's get that, already established. But it's gonna get to a point where they're gonna just send willing bodies. They're not gonna take you to jail. They're gonna come take you from your houses and bring your ass out there, man. All right, they're gonna put you on one of those military planes, which actually the Lord allowed me to see that at a young age. Well, I was in that. They don't got no seats. They strap you to the floor of that motherfucker. And they go blazing speed, man. All right. Me, my mama, my woman was all strapped down in that doing Katrina, man. All right. When they flew us to the area, but you gonna get in them planes and they gonna kick y'all out. And some of y'all ain't gonna have parachutes, man. All right. They'll just kick y'all out over the land. And y'all gonna have to do business, man. Even the ones with parachutes or without, because they're gonna run out of parachutes. The people they're gonna send over there, because people are gonna be dying by the boatload, man. All right, they're gonna be running out of people. So somebody gotta, these women here that stay back, they gotta have no husbands. Their daughters gotta have no fathers. All right. So who is this talking about? This haven't happened yet, and he was speaking of the days to come. All right, so they haven't came, but now we're in them. So men gonna have to go over there. All right, I don't want to rather side. The men of the Lord, we gonna be protected. We believe that. Well, what about y'all? Yeah, we Americans in America, but hey, we the Israel of the Most High. It's talking about the Israel that's not of the Most High, man. All right, and if the Lord do about to get sent over there, the angels gonna be protecting them, man. So it is what it is. All right, you got more? You got it.
If I could just clarify too, the brother got that Joel 2 in the G&T to get to the point about the great slaughter, but that face toward the East Sea is not the Dead Sea. It's talking about the Persian Gulf and Euphrates, and its hinder part is not the Mediterranean. It's talking about the Red Sea. These different translations give you a better understanding, but through the Spirit they go off too.
Yeah, that's why I say, locally in that area, that's barren and that's in that Saudi Arabia area. All right. But, you're right, brother. But the point was, I got it to, for the bodies, to say the bodies. All right. Yeah, so like throw out for that, for catching that, brother. All right. But, and again, is the scriptures location specific perfectly? We understand, for the most part, it does, and around that area, or that's around an area. But for the most part, you people gonna have to go there where, where that river dried up at, and where the Lord announced that battle is gonna take place. All right, in that area, man. But y'all got anything else?
I got a quick one to back the elder.
Come on, you got it.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 3, verse 25. Thy men shall fall by the sword, and the mighty in the war. And her gates shall lament and mourn, and she being desolate shall sit upon the ground.
Con, you got it?
Yeah, so all of the mighty men, and even the, like the brother said, the YNs, all sorts of riffraff, the Lord is going to have you sent over there, and the ones of you that stay here, y'all going to be put to death too. Second Ezra 16 goes into full detail on how, 2/3 are just going to be cold. But you got it out.
Yeah. And the Lord is preparing these other nations, against you people, man, rising them up. When you go to Ezekiel, all right, it tells you how, the Medes gonna be a guard unto these other nations. And we know that, those Persians, all right, they gonna, they're gonna be one of the it was one of the main focal points of America. That, basically when they go into Iran, we know according to biblical prophecy, well, this is where all the shit gonna kick off at, man. All right, it ain't gonna be no backing down. All right, it's gonna be, as you see, it's been tension in that Strait of Hormuz to where DJ Trump said he about to put a blockade in the Strait of Hormuz. Now, we're not the only nation that traveled through that, which 20% of the, the oil route comes through there or whatever, but we're not the only nation of people that travel through that. But he's talking about putting a blockade there, if they don't act right. So we're going to see, all right? We're going to see how everything unfolds. But for the most part, just dealing with these other nations that America about to have to battle, she's going to get overwhelmed, man. Give me Jeremiah 51 and start at 28, brother.
Okay. This is Jeremiah 51 and 28. Prepare against her the nations with the kings of the Medes, the captains thereof, and all the rulers thereof, and all the land of his dominion.
Come on, go ahead.
Verse 29. And the land shall tremble and sorrow, for every purpose of Yahweh shall be performed against Babylon, to make the land of Babylon a desolation without an inhabitant.
John, go ahead. So let me say this. So the Lord is purposing this against Babylon, because it's really to take, aka Babylon, which is America. All right, the modern day name for this Babylon is America. All right, and the Lord, this is the place that has to get the judgment. Okay, but keep reading.
Verse 30. The mighty men of Babylon have forborne to fight. They have remained in their holds. Their might hath failed. They became as women. They have burned her dwelling places. Her bars are broken.
Yeah, so if the men have become as women and the bridegrooms is not going to have any husbands, then what is left here, man? So the men that's going to fight, they're basically, like you said, they trying to purposely fail drug tests. They coming up with all, I forgot what you said on it yesterday, Raya, or some of the things that they're doing to actually, not have to go and fight this war. It took a toll. I think they're calling a hotline number. The elders say they call it some type of hotline number, all right, to basically say, well, look, we don't want to go and fight, man. And these are people in the military with quote unquote training, which the lack thereof, but basic training that they have, man. Some of them don't have that shit, but it says they're going to become as women and they scared to fight, man. So you look at these other countries and the way they prepare their armies. China saying they have millions of men on the front line ready to get busy. All right. Iran is begging Israel to put boots on the ground. They want a boot wall. All right. Because obviously America's strength is the air, but they've been shooting down fighter jets, top-notch fighter jets from U.S. and amongst other things. So these people are in trouble, man. All right. People don't want to go fight this war. People is on the fence. They don't want to protect the country, man. All right. Because they understand that what he's doing is a mission suicide, man. If any of y'all brothers got anything to say, y'all could jump in.
I'm looking for something right now.
Yeah, jump to 33, Raya, and keep going. We're gonna read a little bit more of that other article too. Zaquan, we gonna read a little bit more of that article. It's gonna explain more about that draft too. You know, yeah. Go ahead, Raya.
This is Jeremiah 51 and 33. For thus saith Yahweh of hosts, the power of Israel, the daughter of Babylon is like a threshing floor. It is time to thresh her, yet a little while, and the time of her harvest shall come.
Yep. So it's just yet a little while in the time of harvest too. This is about to be a threshing floor. All right, the Babylon now, the men being removed. It's just like the time. It's the same thing when during the ancient time of Rome. You know, they armies were spread thin. They was in other areas battling other walls, and it's gonna be easy to overtake this place. It's already the land of unwalled villages. Everybody can enter in, and they already got sleeper cells. All right, sitting here waiting. All right, for things to go down. You got Iranians living there, man. All right, different, different nations and different countries. You got the China people that came through the other way. All right, y'all didn't always know it. I know they came through a way of California or something like that, right? When all them immigrants was coming in.
Arizona,
Salakia. All right, but that wasn't even talked about, man. You know what you said?
So they came through the Darien Gap.
The Darien Gap, yeah. And some of them, like, I'm mentioning some of them was coming from another place, like a more secluded area or whatever. Like they was coming through some way from Arizona or some way like that, brother. It been a little while, so it's kind of slipped my mind. But you got all kind of different nations already in here, and the Lord say He gonna fill this place with caterpillars, man. You got something right here? You found what you was looking for?
Khan, I got something.
Come on, go ahead.
Khan. This is Isaiah 34. I'm going to start at verse 1. Come near, ye nations, to hear, and hearken, ye people. Let the earth hear, and all that is therein, the world, and all things that come forth of it. For the indignation of Yahweh is upon all nations, and his fury upon all their armies.
Mm-hmm.
These nations, chiefly, the northern army being gathered down into that land barren and desolate, Western Asia, what people call the so-called Middle East.
Yep.
He hath utterly destroyed them. He hath delivered them to the slaughter. Their slain also shall be cast out, and their stink shall come up. Going back to exactly what it said in Joel 2 and 20.
Yep.
Out of their carcasses, and the mountains shall be melted with their blood. Just showing and there are plenty of precepts we can go into, just showing the great slaughter that's going to happen to all these heathens militaries that are being gathered for the war of Armageddon. If you're a soldier that finds yourself in that region, consider that, a one-way ticket.
Yes. And the Lord is gathering those men up. Give me Isaiah 13, Amawad, and 4.
And he said a one-way ticket because you ain't coming back, man. All right.
Okay.
You're not coming back. Once you're drafted, once you're deployed, into that region, whether you're a part of that group that's going to be going into Iran, you're not coming back. That's why Nero 47 cut off all media outlets to all the airports in America, because when they already know it's gonna the media is gonna be reporting and showing all the soldiers. They usually show the slain soldiers coming back with the American flags on the caskets. They don't want the media to show that, because even now with the stuff that's been going on lately, it cut off all the media outlets to that, because they know it's going to be thousands and millions of the bodies coming back, man. All right, it's going to be at an alarming rate too.
And now it's trickling out. They've got, most people agree on the number that about 750 U.S. soldiers have died already in this war against Iran, which that's the numbers people are officially coming to. But we know how this devil likes to play with numbers, so you might have to double that to around 1,400.
Yeah.
Last time I checked, from some certain other, they already said like 2,600.
Yeah,
2,600 and counting.
And that's just in what, a 2 month period.
Yeah, you got to take that with a grain of salt. Like the brother said, these bodies not gonna get flown back, and you gonna have the proper burials with the American flag. You know, the getting the phone call, it ain't gonna be none of that, man. They gonna just say, "Hey, they over there fighting. We gotta wait it out." Right? Your people just gotta get left in suspense on what's actually transpiring, man. All right, go ahead, bring that out.
We're gonna go back and get the body when we can. Oh, we're gonna just come down and ID it, man. You know,
Yeah,
you're not gonna
Hey.
get the 21 gun salute. You're not gonna get the pyramid shaped American flag. The guy's knocking on your door. All right. Some people just gonna get what it is. Some people just gonna get obliterated so bad to where it's not gonna be ID. You ain't gonna be. It's not gonna be no fragments of them, man.
yeah.
All right. Nothing.
Dust and smell of smoke.
Yeah.
The Lord gonna even zap the seed that they took to go out there in that land, man.
Yeah.
Let's get zapped.
Yeah.
You got it.
Hey, what's poetic though is that in Ezekiel 39, the bodies that are left, you know, the elites that started this war are gonna be some of the first ones going and picking up all those dead bodies from their handiwork.
Yeah, that's the aftermath. Yeah, and like
I had.
You got it.
No, I had. No, I'm gonna go back. I know I had something. Go ahead. I'm gonna find it.
Yeah, and like the brother said, that's the purpose of that digital ID. So basically, they're gonna be able to know you what happened to you, but they're not gonna need to go to the ID the body. All right, we got to make sure this was Sergeant such and such or whatever. They're gonna be able to automatically do that through digitally. All right, but like you say, they're not gonna report that or care about reporting it. They're gonna just, as they utilize numbers, they're gonna be just, hey, send the next number, because you become a number. You don't need a name when you got a CL. You just a number. Go ahead, you got a Zaquan.
Yeah, this is Ezekiel chapter 39, verse 12. It says, "In 7 months shall the house of Israel be burying of them, that they may clean the land. Yea, all the people of the land shall bury them, and it shall be to them a renewal the day that I shall be glorified, said the Lord Yahweh. And they shall sever out men of continual employment passing through the land to bury with the passengers those that remain unto the face of the earth, to cleanse it. After the end of 7 months shall they seek, shall they search, and the passengers that pass through the land, when any see a man's bones, then shall he set a sign by it." All right. You know, you got the little flags and they put out for the you might have a gas line right there, some type of pipe. They put a little flag in the ground to let the person coming behind them know there's something, something right here of importance. That's what's gonna happen, man. It says, "Tell the burials have buried in the valley of I think it's Hamagad, Hamagad,
Haman or Haman God.
Hamagad, Khan." It says, and also the name of the city shall be Haman. Thus shall they cleanse the land. You got it.
Yeah, Khan. So like you say, there's a cleanup period, a trial or error after this, man. And by way of you people, it's gonna be continuing employment, because there's gonna be so many people that died. You're talking about a war on a billions of, those other wars was, millions, or what World War II was, right? You always say the number 10 or 14 million, I think, or something like
million
that.
for World War II.
Okay, how many? 70?
Yeah, Khan.
And how much in World War One?
About 14 to 15 million.
That's the one that's 14 to 15, Slovakia, and about 70 million. But this one gonna be on the billions of scales of bodies, man. All right, this one about to hit like no other. You're gonna have billions of people die. Okay, so it's gonna be work throughout them 1,000 years for y'all to get it together. It's gonna be a lot of work for you goddamn devils. All right. But give me 13. Then I'm gonna have you go read that Joel. I'll go back to Joel, right, and jump up. All right.
You mind if I say something real quick?
Oh, you got it.
Just to back up what you brothers were saying, like, they're just sending warm bodies over there. They're not concerned, about Sergeant First Class Kunovich or whatever your name is. And they had a quote from Joseph Stalin, who was the leader of the Soviet Union. And this is the mindset that these planners are going into this war with, and the elites. One man's death is a tragedy. 1 million men's death is a statistic.
Yep.
Yeah, you just a number. So even when you do, like the brother said, when you do get over there, they just like you said, they just forwarding their agenda. And you're gonna have to get, like you say, you're gonna have to play ball. Because you people ain't want to serve the Lord. So if you don't want to serve the Lord gonna make you fight against him. Like he said, they first fight. It's gonna be Edom and the other nations battling, but you Jay's gonna be out there fighting. All right, y'all gonna have to do it, because if you're not marching with the Lord, or you're not a soldier for the Lord, then you gotta fight against him, man. You might as well go with the other nations, go with eat your father, the devil. All right, let him sign you up, give you a fake, what it's called, a bonus or whatever it is to sign in, and that you ain't gonna never be able to spend or use. All right, and you gonna just get your ass put to death, man. All right, give me that Isaiah, and then we'll jump a little bit into that article. And I'm gonna have you go back to that Joel 2, Ryan.
A digital bonus at that.
A digital bonus. Because your money like you say, your money gonna be on that digital ID anyways. And like you said, if you get sent to a pillar, nothing to be perceived of you, then how in the hell you gonna spend the money, man? But go ahead, Art.
Real quick, just to back what you just said. This St. Matthew chapter 12 and 30 in red letters. He that is not with me is against me. So Abishai made it plain. There's no middle ground, no fence sitting. If you're not serving the Lord, at some point you're gonna be fighting against him. Even right now, if you're not in the truth, you're really part of some ideology that's coming against the truth.
Yep. Yeah, you're going to fight for the Lord or fight against the Lord. Take your pick. And good luck with that. And obviously we know love don't exist. So we're telling y'all good luck.
But this that Isaiah 13.
It's sarcastic. Yeah, get sarcasm. Hey, good luck, man.
Yeah, good luck.
Good luck with that.
This Isaiah 13 and 4. It says, the noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people. A tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. Yahweh, the Lord of hosts, mustereth the host of the battle.
Yeah, because it tell you in Exodus, that the Lord is a man of war. All right. But it's 15 and 3, I believe. And he's mustering the host of this battle. The Lord wants a war. He's a man of war. All right. He said it in his word or the scriptures that there was going to be 3 woes. All right. None after that. But the Lord is mustering the host of this battle, man. Can you get that word muster? See what we can get out of it.
It says to assemble.
Yep.
And the word host goes in the army. So the Lord is assembling the armies of the nations. Going back to that Isaiah 34. The Lord he's the ultimate chess player, man.
Yeah, he the greatest instigator that there ever was one, man. All right. Yeah. He the one that's causing world leaders to die, lieutenants, generals, captains, all right, all to be taken out to actually instigate it even more, man. He the one got them small hats telling the United States, I don't give a damn about a ceasefire. We're gonna do what we're gonna do anyway. All right. All for the world and all for other world leaders to see to actually intensify things even more. All right. He's instigating this war. Y'all talk about us about, man, y'all be laughing and saying shit like y'all wanted to happen. Man, the Lord wanted to happen.
Yes.
The hell are you talking about, man?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And whatever the Lord with, we with.
We with. Man, we come on, brother. We damn near stamp that. Yeah, brother. And that's the mindset of all the brothers, man. Because how can you be against what the Lord with? Can't do nothing for the Lord, but against him before it. Right? Give me Joel 2 and 11. Just to back them brothers up on what they had right there. We're going to get a little more jump around and that a little more. And I'm about to read a little bit of this article, brother.
This is Joel 2 and 11. And Yahweh shall utter his voice before his army. For his camp is very great, for he is strong that executeth this word. For the day of Yahweh is great and very terrible, and who can abide it?
Yeah, so this day is very terrible. All right, and his word is very strong. His camp is very great. He mustering the host. He's putting these armies together. All right, because one realm is about to battle the other realm too. So while they're in action with that, they're gonna have to take on the action of Yahweh Shai and the angels, man. All right, and his camp is very great. You men are mortal men. Y'all about to fight immortal men. Just think about that. You fighting an immortal man, man, and you're mortal. All right, he's about to get nailed, chip, man.
Your bones ain't gonna be able to hold up, man.
Hold up, like the
To
brother
the,
said.
to the blows of Michael, man.
For real.
Raphael, man, and the other host of the angels. Your body, you're not gonna be able to do what Will Mo Smith did, man, in the movie Independence Day. You think you're just gonna open up a capsule and punch an angel in the head, man? No, it's not gonna happen like that, man. All right. You gonna do this, and the next thing you know, you're gonna be in the spirit world, man. That's how you're gonna wake up in the spirit world, like this.
Yeah.
Look around, like, what happened? All right, that's gonna be it for you.
Yes, brother.
And those missiles too, being the Lord's army.
Yeah.
Yeah, he called him a great people and a strong. The Lord,
Yeah,
the Lord's spirit is gonna be
Yeah.
in the missiles, man.
That's
Yes.
the next verse. Say that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I could get
And
that.
the Lord had commanded his sanctified ones, bro, and his mighty ones for his anger, though. You know, now remember, Yahweh Shai is traveling in the greatness of his strength. They come to do business, man. All while you people gonna be battling each other, man. So the Lord gonna have y'all preoccupied, and then y'all gonna have to turn and face him. Go ahead, why you got it.
Con. It says back in Isaiah 13, it says, Yahweh, the Lord of hosts, mustereth the host of the battle. They come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even Yahweh, the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land.
You got it.
Yeah, the it tells you in Esdras that the arrows are going to be shot from one end of the earth to the other. There's going to be a great death in the Middle East, and of course, America is going to be wiped off the face of the earth. There's no escaping the judgment of the Lord. If you're not serving him, you about to perish in the worst way.
Yes.
If you're not serving him, you're gonna get served.
Huh.
Yeah, he likened the missiles unto men, man, like a camp. He shall run like mighty men, man. He shall climb the wall like men of war. All right, like the brother Raya said, man. Raya, you can start wherever you want. And that Joel too. You can get from the top.
Shit, you know
Yeah.
where I want to start at.
Where you want to start, bro? Just go to the top, all right. Well, let's get this article before you go to the top, bro. All right. I'm a why. Let's get a little bit of this article as we begin to wind down. I want to just make sure we get a little bit in that. Hold on. Let me go to it.
And this
I'm
from
going to get the first paragraph, and it's something.
I think this is from the military section of Newsbreak, I believe.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah, the military section of Newsbreak. And this is gonna come up on different platforms. You know, Benzinga, The Hill. You just gotta, search in, get whichever one you like. Go ahead, right? I mean, go ahead, I'm
It says, forget to sign up. The government won't forget you. The draft registration is going automatic.
Yeah, because they've been sending out like little flyers and doing commercials and sending out through different media platforms about your doing a registration. All right, but the government say, look, you don't gotta sign up no more. We don't want to have to use the gas or the manpower and pay people to do this. We just gonna automatically register you, man. All right, go ahead, I'm
gonna say this too. That's the thoughts of the elites, man. The elites already said it before. You don't have to worry about who you want to vote for the president. We're gonna choose the president for you. You don't have to worry about what you want to eat. We're gonna choose what we want you to. We're gonna choose what you're gonna eat.
Yeah.
What you're gonna drink. All right. And this is another example of it, man. But you people think that you so-called free. All right. You think like we heard many times on the block, Jacob say, I'm not in captivity. I'm not oppressed. Cool. Go ahead, Doc.
Yep.
God,
Great.
so eligible men in the United States will be entered automatically into the selective service database by December, replacing the long-standing system that required most of them to register on their own and marking the biggest overhaul of draft registration in decades.
Yeah, because what Ryan, you remember we was discussing it, brother? I believe it was you. It was maybe different brothers. Remember they say they don't want to go do the house to house anymore because of the travel costs, the like other things surrounding it. All right, they like going knock on door to door, house to house. They like that's expensive.
Recruiters.
Yeah, recruiters. All right, so they on everything is efficiency, right? Those when Trump first got in office, he set up the Department of Efficiency. All right, with Elon Musk to scale back a lot of the money going out that the government was basically wasting. All right, on governmental jobs from recruiters to different things like that. So everything is being set in place. All right, for them to just basically draft automatically, man. Which this was always the goal. Oh, go ahead.
I want to say something too. And you best believe, without a shadow of a doubt, AI is somewhere involved with this too.
Yes.
From
Yes.
from the selection of the men, from the selection of the because it's going to have something to do on the span of race, height, all that shit. Man. All right. And at some point, they're not going to give a damn if you're flat-footed, if you're what Nero said. Nero said he had spurs. Bone spurs. All right. They're not gonna but you best believe Barron Trump is not gonna go. All right. All right. You best believe that. Barron Trump is not gonna go to war. But before as you other people, AI is gonna make those selections. AI is gonna comb through state to state. Cause that's gonna be the driving force of this shit, man. This new what is it say selective service database. You best believe AI is a part of that too.
Yep. Yep. That wall that the brother was, I mean, that brother Jerome was talking about. He said that I think in like 1970, I forget what year or whatever, he was like, it was this Edomite that I work with, and he said that he wasn't drafted in the wall because his thighs. It was something about his size. Zaquan. That's what. Yeah, you got it. It was like his thighs wasn't fit or suited for a measurement. It was some type of measurements you had to be particularly. You got it, bro.
And I'm a why. You can go look this up. You know, because I got the screens up right now. I don't want to mess it up. But you can go look this up. I knew about this years ago. You see all you guys that play BF Battlefield 6 and shit, you play Call of Duty, they have ran a database on those games for the ones that be doing all the killing and thinking and because look at it. You can go look this up. They had passed this like yesterday or today. They're gonna go find guys who use video games to drive cars and planes and shit. They're gonna use them as the people that be in the airports, the towers, and they used what I want to get into. I think Xbox did it. Xbox was running like analytical testing on all the video game people back then, and that's how they're gonna select you too. All right, your level of IQ thinking in the midst of a battle and all the shit you can pretty much do with a game.
Yeah. Where you can process the game.
Yeah,
and that's why they kind of got rankings and shit on there, because some people be way more compromised than others, or the way that they utilize their teams, and like you said, that shit all a psyop problem, man. It makes sense, bro.
It is. That makes sense. Why? I think it's done by Xbox. Ran this way you put it. Xbox, Call of Duty, ran analytical data. Let me see if it's still on my phone.
Now, that makes sense. Makes sense. Go ahead, Ryan. You got it, brother. It's like
if I'm remembering correctly, that was the premise, not with war, but the premise of that Gran Turismo movie based off of the game, like, which I think was, semi based on a true story. They took the best players of Gran Turismo and got them together and actually taught them how to, race Formula One. But how did they do that? They gathered all the data from their playtime and saw who was most efficient at the game.
See, yep. And like you say, that makes sense. And they're gonna throw y'all in positions of have y'all think, because let's be frank here, right? The war is just a game unto them. All right. When you look up racket, it's just a way to get rich by using psyop schemes and just different ways of manipulating people, all right, to do something so you can gain from it. Like you said, at the expense, it's the expense of a few. I mean, it's the gain of a few at the expense of many. All right. So at the end of the day, it just needs somebody to go from an analytical standpoint, all right, to make the numbers, to push the numbers for sending military ammunition and food and this and that, or however they want to run the water, build the money up, all right, or however, and that's all it's for, man. Money is more important than you people. You found that when y'all found something?
I'm running it down now. I'm probably close
Mute your phone, volume, and let's read that rule change moves towards December rollout.
But the U.S. military actually uses Xbox. If you found a World War II, I have worked on Ram trucks for over 20.
What's going on?
Rule change moves towards December rollout. First reported by the Department of War's Stars and Stripes publication on Tuesday, the new step is still moving through the rulemaking process. The Office of Information and Regulatory Affairs lists the Selective Service proposal as under review after its March 30th submission, and the agency says implementation is set for December 2026.
Right. So it's set. Implementation is set for December 2026. Now we know, again, you got to take these dates and numbers and times with a grain of salt. Now, if the more hectic this war get, that's gonna get shortened down from December. They're gonna start saying July, man. By the summer, everything should be up and booming. It's gonna be hot as hell. It's gonna be probably the hottest summer on earth. All right, because the earth is at war with this damn devil too. All right, and it's just people get out of jail. You always hear the term, it's gonna be a hot summer. All right. Well, hey, it's been a hot year. So it effectively, immediately, gonna probably be this damn rollout. They saying December, but again, like the apostle said, he believed this could be the apostle said he could believe this the year, all right, that everything gets rolled out and going into the very next year. All right, we could very well be getting saved out of here, man, and a full destruction is at hand. We'll see. All right. It says that this rulemaking process is in the proposal is under its review. All right, as of about a couple weeks, 2 weeks ago, March 30th, give or take. All right, almost coming up on 2 weeks. So this rule change, okay, which they didn't tell the people. They didn't. If you don't read and search and look up things, you're not gonna know what's happening, man. Oh, I ain't gonna go because I'm my mother only son. I got a medical issue. I got this, I got that. That's been proven that none of that is going to work, man. Okay, y'all, you got some, Ryan?
I just got that Joel.
All right, God. You got some, Mama Watt, or you could keep reading a little more?
Yeah, I got a scientific study that goes into the using video games to recruit soldiers. It's kind of long though. I'm gonna just look for the key part, but I'm gonna get back to this. It says law shifts burden from enlistees to agency. The Selective Service System, the independent agency that keeps records of men who could be called up in a national emergency, says the change was mandated in the fiscal 2026 National Defense Authorization Act signed on December 18th, 2025 holiday season, and is intended to streamline the process and cut costs.
Right, and that that happened. I think it was Obama that signed that, huh? It came in effect. Zaquan, you could tell me if just briefly mention all right, under the NDAA Act. I think Obama, I think something was signed under him with that. You always mention it. You know,
Yeah.
you don't have a right to, you know, obviously if you was to get put in jail or whatever, you don't have a right to seek counsel. Like you don't have a
You don't have the right for due process.
due process. That's due process. Right, good better way of putting it. All right, and it was mandated in the fiscal. This was signed on December 18th, right around Christmas. Ironically, man, for you people, 2025, and it intended to streamline the process and cut costs. All right, so this
They
law
always do
should-
that. They always do that. While you guys out there drinking eggnog, kissing your boo, opening up presents, most of the bills be passed around the time of holidays, man, under your noses. Obama signed over 120 plus of them, you know, and it always was done on holidays, so-called holidays. I say that too.
absolutely.
I don't.
Why?
You can scroll down to the bottom. I won't get that last paragraph because you had mentioned it when you brought up that other article, but it mentions here the penalty for resisting. I think it's the last paragraph at the bottom.
Okay.
Right here.
No. This read the next one because it is saying of the transfer responsibility for the registration.
Okay. It says the agency says the law transfers responsibility for registration from individual men to SSS through integration with federal data sources.
Right, now, what federal data sources they talking about? Right, AKA or AI? You know, these databases, right? So they changing it from individual men to SSI. Which was the Selective Service System. All right, that's an independent agency, just like the IRS and all these other people. But we understand that through integration with federal data sources, man. And what sources they're gonna use, what they're gonna do. All right, read that last verse, then jump down and that'll be it, bro.
It says the United States has not used the draft since 1973, when the country shifted to an all-volunteer force. Registration was later suspended, then restored in 1980 after President Jimmy Carter reinstated it.
Right. So registration is just for you copper top, you dumb, you bozo heads, all right, who the easygoing people. You know, the people, the simple people. Hey, yeah, I just want to fight for my country. I have daughters, I have sons. You know, they don't even know what they fighting for. We didn't talk to a lot of people. Just generally, we know personal people was going out there fighting, brothers on the side of different places. You know, I tell you, like, I didn't know what I'm even fighting. I don't know what I signed up for. I saw it was a money grab or it was something to look good on my resume, and they don't even know what the hell they doing, man. You know, they just signing up for something and don't know that they're not coming back, man. You found that, Zaquan?
I was still looking for it, but I was gonna say even when you go into the Black Law Dictionary, that word to register or registration, that's that you give up all your rights. You don't have no say so. All right. Even when you become, anytime you register yourself or put yourself in the U.S. military or prison, you don't have no rights. You are state property, man. You're a property of the military, so they can do whatever they want to do to you. You can say, "Oh, I'm not going to take the jab. I'm not going to take the chip." You're going to do it. You don't have no rights.
Yep.
You know, you don't have no say so, man. And if you want to refuse, they're gonna put you in the gulag. You ain't going to a regular prison. You're going to the gulag. And you Jakes out there, you play what they call that shit, Warzone and all that crazy. They gonna put in some shit just like that.
Yeah. Alligator Alcatraz that done went quiet all of a sudden. What happened to them? Where they went?
Yeah, all that shit didn't went quiet, man. You know, it's one big ass psyop. You know, one big stage for the world to see. All of a sudden, they want you to see this stuff, man. I'm trying to get this some. Let me see some.
Yeah, go ahead, Amawad, and we can read the last part. Let's see what that. You got it, right? You want to say something? You got it, bro.
I wasn't gonna say anything, but you know, going back to that, you know, brothers was talking about that game Metal Gear Solid 2 because of the whole AI conversation. Well, there was another conversation in the game where they were pretty much telling you, look, because the main character you were playing as was an actual child soldier. and he found out he was running a military simulation, and they were saying, look, what's a better way to train a child soldier than through video games?
That's what this says. It's not an article, it's a master thesis. It's a lot, but to summarize, basically what it's saying is the military, like the elder was saying, they use video games to scout who would be good for this, who would be good as a sniper, who would be good for infantry, who's good at problem solving. They're actually using Call of Duty to farm soldiers from the American population, and they said that teenagers are the best. It's the best market because it's right before you turn 18. Okay, we can see this guy. He's playing Call of Duty 27 hours a week. He's done this mission, that mission. They using the video games to farm soldiers, man.
Yeah, Xbox. Some years ago, Xbox got caught with the shit. Even back then, when they wanted Xbox, back then they wanted you to get, when you buy the game, you had to get this particular funny ass looking camera that you put in front of you, and they were using that camera to give them data on for your retina and how fast your reflexes and different shit is. They wanted to look at you and see what you're doing while you're doing it, man, and listen to you.
Yeah.
It's all this shit is one big analytical bank for him, man. He's always big into numbers. He's always big into things like that, man. I would say I'm trying to find. I can't find it. Their mother took this bitch down, but I'm trying to find it where they flat out was saying this shit, man.
Yeah, and like you say, they psychologically, because when you're on a game, if you ever looked at Jake be completely like zoned and like zombied out. Like it's doing, like you said, and then psychologically, if you, can you look up, I'm on a computer, but can you look up what is the game most played besides Fortnite? I want to see if it says Call of Duty. I'm just curious. Or whatever shoot, Modern Warfare, whatever games that deals with all the the things of war, just dealing with shooting and first person, whatever. Just I want to see if it says what game it says. I'm just curious. The most played, and we are just analytical check. We don't know if it's right, whatever. We just looking. I just want to see what it scientifically it says, because like you say that way they monopolizing these young teenager minds. They be so locked into these games, but it's locked into the things you have to do in war. Like the elder always say, you thinking you gonna go out there and it's gonna be Call of Duty, you think you gonna respawn. Like Jake done played this shit so long to Jake think this what happens in war, and then they can manipulate you and get you going. Jake gonna actually think this what he need to do out there, man. Because they're not gonna have time to train Jake, and even the training, the basic training they do, it's not psychologically enough for you to actually learn warfare, man. All right, you see anything?
Kind of saying Minecraft, Fortnite, of course, Counter-Strike 2, Roblox.
Bullshit.
Yeah, they got PUBG.
Yes. Yeah, but like you say, bro, this is interesting. Like you say, they are training, they are giving the young men, especially the teens, whose minds are already ready, underdeveloped. All right, to develop them into what? Shooting all day, throwing grenades, bombs. Because this is what's fucking coming, man. Predictive program. That's crazy, man. They be zoned out on that game too. Yeah, you can read that last verse you wanted to read, and then that's pretty much all I had. Unless he find that, and right, you could get off whatever you got. That's pretty much it. We'll end it on Joel or whatever. That's the point.
It says it is worth noting that failure to register remains a felony punishable by up to 5 years in prison and a fine by up to $250,000, and can also block access to state-funded student aid and jobs in many states, most federal jobs, Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, training and U.S. citizenship for some immigrant men. So that goes back to, you got it?
No, you got it.
I was just gonna say that goes back to the Revelation 13 and 16. He causeth all. He putting a squeeze on people, man. You if you don't go to war, you gonna get locked up. You are gonna get fined. Which Jake don't have $250,000, man.
No.
Or you don't, or you ain't gonna have no due process,
Yeah,
which been signed in a place. Like it's like everything is already in place. You ain't gonna. Well, I'm gonna see a judge in 5 years. Well, they can put this down in an article, or you're gonna get the point where you just not gonna go before a judge no more. So
How
you're
you
gonna
gonna
be
get-
forever.
How you gonna get put in front of judge when they don't know where you at?
For real.
Your mama can't get no lawyer. All right. Your mom don't even know where you at, man. You just gone to some remote goddamn place. All
Or
right.
FEMA location. Like you say, you're gonna be put in some FEMA location or FEMA camp or something. Because these jails gonna get overpacked. Most people not gonna go to the wall. If you take up a survey and type in what's the temperature of the people that will be willing to go to wall, it might be 10%, if that, man.
Hey, I think back then for Vietnam, the ones who didn't decide they didn't want to go to work. I think they didn't want to go to war. Even Muhammad Ali and them, they worked them on those. It's a different prison than regular prison, man.
Yeah.
From what I remember.
It's like military prison.
Yeah.
Yo, you're right about that. But yeah, that was the point. Right, if you want to bring something out, if not, it's cool. Whatever.
And in Vietnam, they only gave most of those guys. I think the first or second leg of those guys that got drafted, they only gave them 6 months of basic training, man. I remember hearing some shit. They said the life expectancy of most soldiers at that time was like 67 seconds, man. Because you got to think around that time when you came off that damn plane or that helicopter, man, you had down south white boys behind you, the enemy in front of you, and they would put Jake first to go run through the woods and get blown up by landmines and shit. So your life expectancy was short. A white boy caught you in front of him, he'll shoot you on purpose, man. All right?
Well,
So how much more of this? They're gonna put you, Jakes, on the front lines again.
Oh. Yeah. All in the name of you died in battle. Oh, he was honorable. He died for his country. And here, an Edomite shot you in the back of your fucking head, man.
Yep.
That's why, like you say, man, we not going, man. Hey, I don't want riders out here, don't have to come down to that. But like, brothers' minds is made up, man. Nah, listen, come on, bro. You can't go fight against the Lord willingly, man. I got a little cousin, whatever. Now y'all know him. He came out the one time.
I remember who you talking about.
Yeah, and he just signed up for 8 more years or 10 more years or something. Just like, but he knows what's going on. Yeah, just like your people. I wanted to tell you that, but you got it, bro.
Yeah, Jake tripping, man.
Jake tripping. Jake know he gonna fight against the Lord and did it anyways, man. Just drinking 2 bottles of whiskey every day. The big one. What are you doing?
Yeah, he got to be on the MK, man. They made him sign them papers. Ain't a 20,000 in the world to go over that, man.
100,000, nothing. Anybody who's thinking like the quote you say, Ryan, you say life is already hard, but it's even harder.
Yeah, by John Wayne. Life's hard, but it's even harder if you're an idiot.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah, but that's all I had. Whatever y'all brothers got. That's point. We had an hour and 8. So that's the point. It's getting there. It's getting. It's becoming more prison-like. And this word actually opens the prison to those that are bound. But like you said, if you don't come into this word, that's the only way you're gonna be able to free yourself of this captivity, this mental captivity that Jake under duress, under psyops. All right, you're not gonna be able to see. Your eye not gonna be single. It's not gonna be opened, which is your mind, man. It says you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. A lot of you people are in prison, all right, because y'all haven't really learned this. All right, so y'all haven't been exposed to the side of things, or the knowledge brothers have, or they go into, and what they know. All right, you'll be like, goddamn, man, I've been living in a clone Tyrone world, man. All right. But what's ironic is, again, if either way it go, you gonna get imprisoned, man. You gonna get imprisoned here, or you get sent over there to the Lord, or whatever the case may be, unless you get this truth, man. All right, and the doors of this word is closing. So if you don't receive this, man, then listen, you might as well go to war. Just go to war. You know, help yourself, man. Go blow yourself up on the mine. Jump out with no parachute. Don't never open your parachute when you jump. You know, say, hey, do whatever fits you. Because the Lord gonna kick your ass anyways, man. But that's all I had if y'all brothers don't got anything.
Yeah, that's it.
So, you know, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. You know, to the next time, we won't give infinite honors and prayers to Yahweh, to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, and salutation to the Agam that's pushing the truth to sincerity. Until the next time, we'll say Shalom.
Hey,
Shalom.